Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Kara Delane and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings and Kara Delane.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable After Dark. What a day, Ted. And now we have another mega panel tonight.
Kara, we work during the day, and then we work a second shift at night, live all the time. And I can't believe it. It's another mega panel. But look at the stars that are on the show tonight, Kara. We've got Ed Roberts. We've got Tony Owens, who are going to give us a preview into their keynote tomorrow morning. We've got Jake Wilker from Car Wars on tonight. We've got the amazing Owen Moon from Fixed Ops Digital, the number one and only digital solution, Owen, out there. We've got Robert from CMA, who's here tonight. And of course, on tomorrow with you, Ed, on the mobile panel is Robert Stage from Stage One Mobile in Columbus, Ohio. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, guys. Hey, Ted.
Great to be here.
Kara.
Thank you. Great to be here.
You guys talk like we've been working all day, but leaders never quit. And you got a panel full of leaders here, so we're just getting started.
And I like it.
It's early. It's early. Still
we
light
are
outside.
just getting started. And you know what, Kara? I am remiss because I need to put on the screen BG Products 50th anniversary. And we are so grateful, Kara, tonight to our exclusive sponsor for the show.
Yes, we are. BG Products, partners beyond products. Without them, Ted, we would not be able to do this show every single week and host our Fixed Ops Roundtable. So thank you so much to BG Products for sponsoring everything that we do here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
BG Products is great. I caught the segment on Tuesday, Kara, and I heard Bob Tasca say that he is concerned that BG is going to switch him out for you, all right, behind the wheel of the BG Mustang, and that is a concern.
He better be scared, Ted. I mean, I might give him a run for his money. You never know what I might do.
You know, he's got a phenomenal schedule, Kara, coming up that he shared with us. I can't believe how many more races he's got this year.
I know. We asked if we could attend one of his races, and he said, you want to go here, 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 all across the nation? And we're like, yeah, when are those? He said, oh, in October. They're all in October. I was like, when are you ever home?
So we had a great segment with him.
Did you see all those trophies behind him as well?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, there's 30 of them behind him.
There was a lot, Ed.
Yes.
He holds a world's record, for that funny car, for that BG Mustang. And I guess that BG stuff is pretty good, Ed.
He runs a pretty good operation with the stores as well as a pretty good race car driver.
Yeah, great stuff. So quick story, Tony Owens. This past summer, my daughter was cleaning out my mother's pantry, right? Cleaning some stuff, moving some things. And there was a big poster board, Tony, in my mother's pantry. And this thing has got to be like 4 feet, by 2.5, 3 feet, whatever it is. And she goes, Dad, can I throw this out? and I look, and it was a blow up of the last page, the back cover, Ed, of Automotive News from 1988. And I'll take a picture with it, okay? And it's got two pictures, one of Robert Tasca and one of Eustace, now the Bob Tasca, the grandfather, right? And Eustace Wolfington, all right, talking about how they transformed leasing for Ford Motor Company. And it's this full page, right, that we had blown up. And I guess I stuffed it away in my mother's pantry years ago, and it's been there and she was about to throw this thing out. And I said, you don't want to throw that out. That's Bob Tasca's grandfather.
Oh, absolutely.
She said, who's Bob Tasca? So anyway, Kara, I showed her the segment from the show the other day, and I said, look what you're doing. You're throwing a piece of history. You know, you just can't throw that out, Kara. So
I just don't know why you stored it in your mother's pantry, Ted. It's an odd place to put it, but okay.
So
Ted, funny story. When I got in the car business, the very first book I got handed was "You Will Be Satisfied" by Bob.
You Will Be Satisfied, Bob.
I mean, it's an oldie. I would recommend if you haven't read it, read it. Heck, reread it, because some of the things that are in that book today still are what we build our business and our life around today in the auto industry. So.
Yeah, that's right. A pioneer. He saw things years ahead before they happened. So, Jake, I got my start in the car business on the sales side, right? And I started selling cars. I was selling Fords. And Tony knows I was a what, Kara? I was a closer, right?
Yeah.
And I became the lease manager at my dealership, right? And we were like the number one 24-month volume lease dealer for Ford division, Ed, in the nation, right? And Tasca was number one Lincoln, right? So there were the two of us competing with each other. So I was a big fan of the Ford red carpet lease and the training. And then eventually, like 3 years later, I left to start my own training company with Eustace Wolfington, who started Half a Car, with his partner who wrote the training company program. So that's my relationship with Tasca, you know, with their family going way, way back. And then with Bob's father, and then with his uncle. So, you know, I know the whole family. So.
Do people lease escorts between 83 and 87?
Only the sports.
What's the residual on those things?
Oh, okay. The residual back, a 24-month residual, Tony, was about 42%.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Not bad, really.
And that was
about the Tempo GL.
And that was a
fine automobile.
I
was
owned
a high
Tempo.
Residual because they all came back as losers, Owen, right?
Yeah.
Everyone.
I owned a Tempo till the oil pan shot out. I was like, oh man. So long story, different story, but
Robert, you had a Tempo?
Oh, and
I did.
Owen did. Yeah,
I didn't.
Oh,
I was
Owen
gonna
had
say
to
I
do
didn't have one.
Yep, I had a Tempo for a couple years, but in high school. So
oh, and I'm just curious if Ted the closer leased you on that.
he did.
Yeah.
I didn't know Ted back then. Otherwise, I'd still be in that thing. No, it's just
I was pretty strong back in the day, but I was a Honda store guy. Man, Ford back in the 80s, oh my Lord.
All right. So we're probably a little giddy tonight because we've been doing the Fixed Ops Roundtable for the last couple of days. And I tell you, Robert, we have had an awesome, awesome time. We've probably got, right now, it's like the second best attendance we've ever had. Tomorrow, Robert, we could go over the top, okay, to have the very best show we had, Robert, was with Jay Leno last year. And Kara, I never thought we would challenge that without another, huge name. I mean, other than the names that are on here tonight. But Kara, it looks like we could go over the top tomorrow.
I am thinking we're going to do it, Ted.
I think we got a good shot. So
I would bet on it.
Well, Ted, before you get going, one thing I just wanted to say, and Kara obviously as well, I never expect that you guys can outdo yourself from event to event. And I think this event by far, so far, I mean, tomorrow's a whole nother day, so you're only going to exceed this, but you guys have gone above and beyond what you normally do, and not just with the production. I mean, obviously your guys' production's been great, and it's entertainment, so people enjoy it. They're spending time while they're kind of working and also listening, that type of thing. But the information has just been dynamite this time. I mean, as a marketing guy, I spend a lot of time at digital conferences and things like that. I use your roundtables as the chance for me to get into the trenches and learn from everyone like on this panel and people that, are just in the fixed ops trenches. So I can learn, so I can become a better marketer for my customers. And I love what you guys are doing. I love the last 2 days have been just outstanding, dynamite. So good work.
Wow. Thank you.
And there's no doubt that you guys are going to exceed it tomorrow. If tomorrow comes close to what the last 2 days has been, it's easy. It's done. Mark, check it out.
Tomorrow's going to be a huge day. We got a lot of content, and I got to thank everybody, not just here tonight, but in the audience, who's been involved with this event. A whole lot going on. Jake Wilker is here tonight with Car Wars. He's new to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. This Fixed Ops Roundtable, Jake, we had more conversations, and I've had more conversations about the phones, Jake, than ever before. We've never had so much discussion about the phone. And Owen, I'm talking about things like answer the phone, right? That's like the number one thing at the dealership. We're not answering the phone, right? And let alone what happens after the fact. But Car Wars has all these tools. And Jake, I'm actually amazed at all the stuff that you've got. I've heard about it from some people. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
Yeah, and I'll echo Owen. I've been blown away. This is our first time doing this, mainly because we've always been focused more on the sales side. I would say Car Wars has been heavily involved with dealers on the sales side of things, but we kept hearing how important the phones are on the service side, and we need to get better there. We have to, and so we've really dived in there, and this has been a great event the last couple of days. I've been blown away on how really, I know, Owen, you've seen it before, but the production value to me on a virtual event like this is unheard of. So it's been really great to see. But yeah, I mean, for me, the phones have been the main thing I've sold to, years now. But on the service side, it just starts with connecting the phone. So Car Wars, where we're going to help is really helping you identify where your gaps are in your phone process, make sure all of your calls are connected, and then make sure when they are connected that they're handled properly, and alerting the right people on how those should be handled. So we focus heavily on connecting every call, which we call it connect. It's different than an answered rate because sure, all calls are probably answered, but connect is reaching someone that can truly help the customer with their question. So getting them ear to ear with someone that can help them. And that's what we really want to hone in on. And the two things I hit on heavily today are going to be status update calls. Just call your customer back with the status of your vehicle. That's going to go a long way. And then have a proper routing system so that calls aren't routing to nowhere. And I think those two things will go a long way to give you a good baseline on the phones.
And Jake, I would have to think, I'm going to ask Ed and Robert about this to confirm. But Jake, I would have to think there are so many more calls that go to fixed operations, to service and parts. And I'll let Ed and I'll let Robert weigh in on that.
Absolutely. There's a lot more calls that goes into the dealership for service. But ultimately, most of those calls, when it's bad process, like Jake was just talking about, or poor process, is status calls. You got to set the tone up front of when you're going to make that phone call, and then make the phone call before then, not 5 minutes after. But when you tell them I'm going to call you in a little while, or I'll call you in a bit, or I'll call you before lunch, it's up to perception then, and then that phone starts blowing up, and then nobody can keep up with it, and it's a reaction to the rest of the day.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Robert, what do you think, Robert?
Go ahead, Robert.
Different
Robert. Which Robert? They're multiplying.
Let's go to Robert. Let's go to Robert's CMA first. Then we'll go to Robert. Then we'll go to the stage.
There we go. Exactly like I was saying. I mean, setting up the expectation is the biggest situation that we see, and getting the customer set up on the right tone from the gate is by far the best way to set it up. And process driven and just getting that situation corrected changes the whole feel of how the whole day can go. And playing catch up on phone calls is not a fun thing to do. So.
No. In fact, a number of us here tonight look up to Ed Roberts as a mentor. And I know that, a few weeks, maybe months ago, Tony and I had some conversations and Robert CMA had some conversations with Ed. Robert Stage, what do you think about the phones?
What I used to see all the time was the phones, you would get bounced. Customers would get bounced as soon as they would come in. They might make it to service, but what would typically happen is if someone didn't get it within 5 or 6 rings, it would get bounced and go back to the BDC. It would get bounced and go to sales. It was just a nightmare. So a lot of people, I mean, you would start out with just someone calling in to get a status update, and then you would actually have a really angry customer on the phone because they try to get a hold of you. They try to get a hold of their service advisor. They don't know who to speak to no more because they've forgotten from, the morning when they dropped their vehicle off. It was a complete nightmare sometimes. So any type of business that comes in and helps untangle that web and make it to where the customers, it's a lot more easy process, definitely is going to help out in this fixed ops business.
So Robert Stage, what Jake did was he tied in the fact that he called it 5 reasons that you have a poor CSI score, and he tied it back to the phones. And Jake, I thought that was pretty clever that you did that, and I like the PDF that we sent out as well from Car Wars today.
Yeah, I mean, Robert, you hit it on the head. Like it may just start as a simple problem, but all of a sudden we're sending you a heat call alert. Because the customer's so mad now that they're just wanting to do everything they can to not even do business with you anymore. And all you had to do is, to Ed's point, set the proper expectation, call them back in 5 minutes. And you can call them. And today, we can measure on the phones on click to call, on calling the customer back, making sure we're following up. But you have so many options now too. You don't even have to just call. You can text. There's so many options that you could just get that information to the customer, and now the inbound lines aren't flooded with calls that could have never even been made in the first place.
Tony Owens, what do you think?
Oh, no question. I shop about 15 dealers a week on just calling and seeing how they do, because that's what I want to do. And it's brutal. Man, I'm telling you, they need these things. It's an incredible thing. It's really sad sometimes. This is extremely important, extremely.
So a lot of the event has talked about the basics on the phone, right? And then another big part of the event was what Owen did. Owen yesterday delivered an amazing segment with Fixed Ops Digital, okay? And he talked about the digital opportunities. Owen, take us through a little bit of that, if you don't mind.
Well, and it kind of ties into this conversation about the phones too, because what you guys are talking about is a lot of it is, a customer's already dropped the car off and now they're trying to get information, right? But part of what we talk about or what we really focus on is sort of that pre-appointment. So, getting more information on your website, getting pricing and getting more offers out there. These are all things that can maybe avoid a phone call, because if a customer can go to your website and get that information right now, and now they have a little better understanding, they don't have to pick up the phone and call. Now they can just set an appointment. So, we really focus on that. That's what our company was built on, was that transparency and information and that type of thing. But now what we've done is we've started to evolve it where we're pushing it out to other digital initiatives, right? So if you want to run some Facebook campaigns, you want to make sure that your pricing matches, right? So if you have an ad on Facebook, they come to the website, they see that same offer, and then even inside the scheduler, hopefully that all matches all the way through. That builds trust, and that allows those higher CSI scores, right? And those better experiences. I was kind of made a comment that customers are very volatile today. I see so many crazy reviews coming in of if they would have just answered the phone, like you guys said, or answered the question, or just took a little time to explain to the customer what it is that you're going to do and then meet those expectations, it would be a 5 out of 5, right? But when they don't do that, man, it becomes a really friction point real fast. So it's kind of what we worked on, and that's what I talked a little bit about that yesterday.
Ultimately, what you end up doing is giving them a shopping list, because you're going to tell them what's wrong with it. They've already told you no because they've lost their level of trust with you. And now they have everything that they need to fix their car, and they're going to take it somewhere else and pay them to do it. But Ted, when we started the show, you mentioned something about it's been a long day, and I think you're right. I mean, like I said, that sometimes leaders never quit. But I think Tony's been burning the midnight oil for a bit, and his lanterns are about to run out of oil there, it looks like.
No. No, I'm good. Am I not sitting up something? I'm good.
I have too much light.
Well,
It's shining my
I need to
forehead
get
pretty
one.
good.
Well, I need one of them Chevy Chase lights in here. Like
There you
go.
I know Tony gets up really early in the morning. And Tony, tomorrow morning, you and Ed have a big segment. Jake, these are the keynote speakers tomorrow morning, Tony Owens and Ed Roberts. And Ed, what are you guys going to be talking about?
We're going to be talking about dealership culture. Some of what we talked about tonight already has been about customer satisfaction, CSI. And that really starts with culture. It starts with employee satisfaction, because a disgruntled employee is not going to make a happy customer. They don't go hand in hand. So we got to take care of them on the front side first. And our people is key to the success of our business. So that's what Tony and I address tomorrow morning. And I'm looking to see everybody there.
So tomorrow morning, we're talking about culture. And then Robert, Robert CMA, you are on two I'll come to you in a minute, Robert Stage. Robert CMA, you're on two panels tomorrow. I know about the second one because Robert Stage is on that one as well. But Robert CMA, take us through the two panels that you're on tomorrow at the show.
Yeah, so one of the main ones we touched base on was definitely culture driven and what we're looking at there, and just a lot of what CMA is bringing to the table and what we're putting out there in the world between technician, pretty much apprentice programs and anything to help keep the technicians and the employees happy and working. And then we also dive into a couple conversations on some abilities to make our life easier by tagging cars and finding them, and how to maintain some great processes throughout the lot area of finding vehicles, finding customers, and keeping that stuff together. So it's a lot of fun.
It's a panel, Jake, called Using Geointelligence to Sell More Hours. It is such a clever panel, and I'm really looking forward to that. But tomorrow morning, there's a panel coming up shortly after the keynote, and Robert Stage and Ed Roberts are both on that. Robert Stage, it's one of the most popular panels. Mark Mickens joins you. Tell us about that panel, because I believe that's one of the cornerstones now of the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
It's definitely going to be a really good one, Ted. We got to talk about, we're going to talk about how the dealership can make more income and more revenue by going mobile and taking your services out into the world. And I really like what Ed has said in the past about that, about meeting the customer on their own terms, because like he said in the past, all too often dealerships want the customer to come to them, and, they're on their terms at that point. So it makes it a whole lot easier when, people are able to go out and actually service customers. Me being in the aftermarket now, where I had been in the dealership, I kind of feel like I'm like a harbinger, like a Christmas Carol story at this point. I'm like the Christmas ghost of the present, or the future, because if the stuff doesn't get fixed at the dealership level, it's just going to continue rolling over into the aftermarket. And that's where I'm going to end up making more and more money. And I think the industry is way big enough for, anyone to get into it and to do the jobs that, all of us do. But sometimes it just does not look very good for the dealerships, especially the ones that I've been at. I've been at some good ones. I've been at some bad ones. I was about 5 or 6 years in dealerships, so you get to see a little bit of everything. But that panel is going to be a really good one, I feel. Yeah, and there are people, who come up to me and talk to me and say, do you know Ed Roberts, or do you know Robert Stage? Because they're looking at, and if there's a Ford dealer even thinking about getting into mobile, I know they're on the phone with Ed Roberts, or they've been on the phone. In fact, up at West Herd, Tom Brzezinski said he spoke to you, Ed, because this is the largest dealer group in New York, right? And they had questions, and you helped them solve those problems they had.
We're all in it together. We're not here to compete against each other. It may seem like that on the outside, but the mission is to make a stronger dealer body. If we make a stronger dealer body, we all win.
Yeah. And then Robert Stage, you're on a panel late in the day with Robert CMA. Robert Stage, that is a technician, I think Kara calls it the Tech Vengers. Is it, Kara?
Yes, the Tech Ventures.
Robert Stage, take us through that a little bit, because I think this is like the 5th time you guys have met, and Ann Lister is on that, Marco's on there. Talk to us a little bit about that panel. Yeah, it's going to definitely be a great panel. We go over technician retention, technician hiring, how to treat your people right. Like Ed was saying earlier, just, make sure that they're being taken care of. A disgruntled customers or disgruntled employees, definitely not someone you want
customer facing at that point in their life. So you have to make sure you take care of your people. And those have been very, very popular, like you were saying. On the technician front, we got Joe Lockard from Automax Recruiting is going to be on there. You think he's the one that's going to do our emceeing of that and, asking questions. So it's going to be a really awesome panel.
Would you folks who are on there tonight, would you say the panels are probably, the more interesting part of the event? What do you think?
I think it gives a lot of different perspectives. So yes, it certainly helps the crowd relate, because they may not relate to one person as well as they relate to the other. But when there's multiple personalities, it helps them relate at different levels.
Yeah, I think also, Ted, it goes to efficiency. If you have a keynote speaker that's only speaking as one person, sometimes that can be, a little difficult to get through. But if you've got, like Ed said, multiple, just a multitude of people, it's a lot easier for sometimes people to actually get into that and, hear multiple different things and be able to soak up a lot more information.
The fixed ops guys are too nice, though. Usually the panels, you got to fight, you got to, spar it out a little bit, and none of that going on at all. Just a lot of great information. But Ted, maybe we can work on that. Let's get some people on a sparring match on one of these panels. Argue a little bit. We need some arguments.
So maybe like a digital marketing panel with a little bit of sparring on that, Owen. What do you think?
Flair? Yeah, we could always do something.
I made a comment 2 nights ago on service packages that people were selling in F&I, and I said every single service package that F&I sells should have a set of tires in it, because 70% of your customers, as soon as they buy, right at the first person that tells them that they need tires, that's where they buy them from. So if you can do that at the dealership level, roll it into your package, roll it into the price, and sell tires the first set at least, there's your customer retention.
So Jake,
there's
we
something
need
to fight over.
Can someone argue with you on that?
Jake, something to think about. We need a panel, Jake, on the phones. We need a panel of people in the dealership talking about the phones. All right. We had one today with Tully and with Sean. Okay. But I think that would be also a really big thing. Now, yesterday, Cara Delane was on one of the panels that really blew it up big. It was the Women in Automotive panel. And Cara, that thing just lit it up. People are still texting me today, 24 hours later about that. Cara, talk to us about that panel that you were on.
Yeah, I think it was important to have that many women on one panel, Ted. And I feel like what was great about this panel was not one of us were in the same type of position. We were all over, scattered across the automotive industry, talking about every aspect of it. So it gave kind of an insight into the industry as a whole from everybody's point of view. So it was interesting to get some of the vendor side and things like that versus internal at the dealership and different views. And I feel like there could have been some disagreements there. But I think collectively we all had the same type of vision. And that's what's important about us women in automotive is that at the end of the day, we all have the same goals. We all have the same dream to make the automotive industry completely a better place and to invite other women to be a part of it as well.
We just need more.
We're working on it.
I think it was a great panel. It was awesome to watch.
That panel really lit it up, Cara. And I noticed, I think there were 8 or 9 ladies on that panel?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You were the only one who worked in dealership.
And that's what I was kind of getting at, Ted. I thought it was interesting when I got on there and we started having the discussion, they're talking about dealership culture and things like that. And I was like, wait, I'm the only one that is sitting in a dealership. So they finally were kind of asking me what it was like for me. And, I'm newer to the automotive industry compared to some of the women that were on the panel. But yeah, it was interesting. And I was happy to share my insight about my few years in the automotive industry and at the dealership level. So,
and Cara, your dealership's so progressive too that it's not really fair, right? Because you guys are so ahead of the curve with what you're doing and all that. I think if you would have had you and maybe 8 other females that are in the stores, you would have had a whole different perspective on the conversation, because a lot of stores are just kind of just going through the motions, right? They're not progressive, they're not evolving, and I think we need more of that. So I love watching you guys create and do your thing at the dealership. It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's what our biggest goal is at our dealerships at Hinson Brand is to be appealing, to be able to recruit other women that maybe, wouldn't fit in the stereotypical dealership setting. And we want those type of people. We want to make our environment at our dealerships welcoming to people like that may have never even considered a career in automotive at all.
And Kara, tomorrow at about 2:15 Eastern, your dealership is on a panel. That's why I talked to Eric today. Your dealership has a panel on a particular topic that makes dealerships more appealing. Tell us about that topic, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so tomorrow, Eric Barbosa is going to be talking a little bit with some other fellows on the roundtable about our 4-day work week that we implemented about a month and a half ago. We've been on a 4-day work week, and it is store-wide. So marketing team gets it, our sales staff gets it, technicians get it, accounting staff gets it. Everybody is on a 4-day work week, and it's definitely been a transition at our stores, and we're overcoming the hurdles that we've come across as we saw coming. But I do believe that it has made the culture at our dealerships better, and it's really been a great recruiting tool for us to be able to recruit people like other women that might have kids at home that don't want to be away from their family 6-7 days a week, dusk till dawn. And I know for me, I've gotten a little more sleep lately, Ted, so it's been nice for me. But it's going to be a great discussion. So I hope everybody gets to watch that, because it's interesting trying to figure out the tools that would make a 4-day work week, successful, especially when you're talking about the technicians in the shop.
That panel includes Jeff Daniel, Adam Aarons from the Patriot Automotive Group is on that panel. I talked to him today. He was watching the whole roundtable. He was like commenting to me on different things that he was watching. That UVI panel was great today. So we got a big day in store tomorrow. So one more day, everybody. And then Kara, we're on to the next event.
Yes, and it'll be coming up quick, Ted. I feel like we got a couple sleeps in between now and then it'll be the next event.
That's how I used to talk to my daughter. We got a couple sleeps between now and then.
That's how I feel. I gauge my life by the sleeps I get. They're few and far between.
All right. So, Ed, any last words before our day 3 tomorrow?
Well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow, but I think the next one, and you can tell us when it's coming up. I believe it's sometime in November, and you can elaborate on that. I'm gonna have to take Owen up on his challenge there. We might have to spar a little match there too on one of those panels.
Yeah, we're gonna save the announcement for tomorrow, but it's gonna be in November. It's the week before Thanksgiving. You'll see the theme tomorrow. If you thought the Roaring 20s were a fun theme, and by the way, this theme was amazing. I don't think we would have got the audience if we had not done the Roaring 20. I think, Kara, that was a huge part of it. And Tony, thank you for dressing up, and thank everybody for what you did at this event. Monday night, we're going to announce the best practice winners. They'll be here on the show. And then Wednesday night, we'll have the best dressed winners on the show, who'll be all winning some Nordstrom gift cards and some gifts for that as well. But the next event's theme, Owen, I shared a little bit with you today, is going to be pretty amazing, Owen. So
yeah, it's gonna. I mean, it might even top this one, but and then I think you got another one early next year that might even be more days. I think so. I don't know how you're gonna put another day on that thing, but it's gonna. Let's do it. So
I cringed when I sent the schedule to Kara, and I sent it over to her, and I said yes or no.
And what I say, Ted?
I don't know. What did you say? I don't remember.
I said
maybe.
yes.
You said maybe.
Yes.
And Jake, what we're talking about in January, what Owen's alluding to, in January, we're going to do our first 4-day Fixed Ops Roundtable, Monday through Thursday, the last week of January. There's that much interest right now in Fixed Ops. We easily could have done 4 days this time. So it'll be our first 4-dayer. And, if we think we're tired now, wait till then, right? So anyway. Ed, thank you for all you do. And by the way, Ed, I appreciate, you obliging me and, being on all these panels. And you got a great panel coming up tomorrow with Brian at Orby as well.
I'm looking forward to it. And guys, don't forget that Ted's got a new name. He's now Ted the Closer.
Ted the Closer.
Ted the Closer.
Ellen Tempos.
Jake, any thoughts tonight before we go?
No, I mean, this has been a really, really cool experience. I'm excited for the next one. And, hearing that there's 2 more coming up in the next 6 months is great. Similar to Owen, I'm just soaking in a lot of information, and it's been fun. I'm excited for the keynotes tomorrow morning. That'll be great.
And Jake, I think this is good for Car Wars as well, because this introduces you personally to the fixed ops community. And, this is really a family, a community. Everyone watches their back, and everybody, kind of knows this and knows that. So I think the more that they learn about you and about Car Wars, it's going to help put you guys on the fast track, in this particular segment of retail automotive. I know the areas that you are really good in, and I think service is going to be low hanging fruit for you folks. So
absolutely. I appreciate you having me on tonight.
All right. So Kara, how do we wrap up tonight? What do we do?
I mean, I guess we could try to guess who's going to win the best dress contest tomorrow, Ted. Who do you think has been? Somebody on here might win it, actually. Anybody know? Anybody have any guesses who they think the best dress was so far?
There's some good ones out there.
There's been a few good ones.
Tony's like, me.
I just try to keep up with y'all. You guys are killing it. I just try to keep up.
Did you all see Jim Roche today in his hat? He had the fedora going today. He had the whole thing. So,
Man.
By the way, I texted Jim today, and we were talking about Les Silver's segment this morning, right? I said, Jim, would you be willing to do a segment at the next Fix Ops Roundtable with Les Silver together? Mm-hmm. Jim Roche and Les Silver. He said, yeah, bring it on. So I'm going to see if we can put that together. Les and Jim Roche. Ed, what do you think?
I think it'll be strong.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, everybody. So thank you all for tonight. Kara, what time tomorrow do we start this shindig off again?
9 a.m. Eastern time. We will see y'all tomorrow morning for day 3 of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, the Roaring 20s. Wow. So if you know anybody out there that hasn't got their complimentary ticket, let's beat that record, guys. Grab them now at fixedopsroundtable.com.
Yeah, everybody, we only need a few more tickets, and we will hit a new record for the Fixed Ops Roundtable all-time attendance. And I don't think that people will believe when they hear what the final number is, but it's really, really big. So if you can help us out, a few more folks to attend. We want to beat the record from last year, and I think we will as well. So,
absolutely. Thank you guys all for being on tonight after a long day at the Roaring 20s. We appreciate all of you, and I can't wait to hear tomorrow's keynote and the rest of the day. So hope to see you all tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Have
guys.
a great day.